Hey, all, my name is Davey. I'll just talk a little bit about mining engineering real quick. For mining engineering, we like to say we're kind of a jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to engineering. We get into a bunch of other types of the other types of engineering offered here at the school. So just mining engineering, biggest thing about it is we turn big rocks into small rocks because we want what's inside. And the way we do that is through the most common way is blasting. So you'll drill a hole in the ground, load it with explosives, blow it up. So that's kind of a little bit of chemical engineering. You got to get your pressures right. When you blast, you actually aim it because you want a neat little pile when you're done with your blast. Another thing we'll do is you have roads in the mine, and the roads are only so wide. So you will try to schedule your trucks going down these roads so that you can optimize your travel time and make sure you get the most amount of rock out of the mine every day. So it's a little bit of industrial systems. We do a lot of stuff with machinery, like the thing I have behind me. That's the largest piece of mining equipment in the world. It's called a bucket wheel excavator, and that little arm there is about 1,000 feet long. It's crazy big. But we do a lot with machinery, so you can get into mechanical engineering. We do a lot with automation, so that's computer sciencey type stuff. There's a mine in Australia that is actually 100% automated. No one goes into the mine because that's the safest way to do it. They call it mining in Perth because there's a city, Perth is about 300 miles away, and they all mine by remote control from Perth, and no one actually goes into their mine. And then another thing we'll do that's really big that we will do is called mineral processing. And it's like, unfortunately, when we're mining for gold, for example, there are no nuggets of gold left in the ground for the most part. You're going to have a couple square miles of rock, and it's going to be like this rock is 0.005% gold. So you're going to get tons and tons and tons of that rock, and you're going to put it in what we call a leach pad, and you're going to dump material on it that's going to chemically bond with the gold, usually use cyanide. So we'll dump cyanide on our gold, and the gold will bond with the cyanide, and then we have a liquid gold cyanide compound, and you can kind of empty that out into just its liquid form. You can remove it from the solid, and then you can introduce something that the cyanide would rather bond with to pull it off of the gold, and then you're just left with the liquid gold that you see in gold bars. So those are just a few of the things we can do. We get into a lot of stuff in mining. You can kind of be all over the place with what we do.
How did you decide to go into this major?
So for me, I was at something like this, my senior year of high school, and I was going around talking to all of the types of engineering. They all had their little booths, and they were talking. And I went to the first one. I went down to I was talking to computer science, aerospace, and then we got to mining and minerals engineering. And me and my parents were like, "Oh, what's this?" And there was a guy and a girl there, and I talked to the guy for probably about 20, 25 minutes, and my parents talked to the girl, and I walked off and continued talking to all the other booths. And my mom and dad kept talking to the mining engineering booth for another hour and a half or so until I was done everywhere else. And I got in the car and we were going home. And my mom's like, "So what do you think about doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I like computer science and I like aerospace and I like mining." She's like, "Oh, I think you're going to do mining." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'll see." And she's like, "Nah, I think you're going to do mining." So I kind of had that idea planted in me from before I got here. So I looked at the department a lot and I just love it. I just love the department. We're a lot smaller than most of the departments, which I like because I get this big state school feel being at Virginia Tech. I get to go to a football game with 66,000 people. But then when I go to classes, it's the same 20 people in all my classes, and I know each other. I know them really well, and I've known everyone in my major since sophomore year. So I like the balance it has with that too.
Does this major have good job placement?
Yeah, so we have 100% job placement in mining engineering. By July after graduating, I already have a full-time job now, actually. There is more jobs in the mining industry than there are people willing to do the job. There is only 14 mining engineering schools in the United States, and our department only has around 100 undergrads, and we are the largest department in the country currently. There is an abundance of jobs in this industry.
What is the future of the industry given our inclination towards renewable energy?
Yes, so it's very, very good, actually. So a lot of people hear mining engineering and they just think coal. That's not even a small part of what we do. I believe out of our 2025, like graduating class of 20 or 25 every year, we'll have one student go into coal. The rest of our students tend to gravitate towards precious metals like gold and silver, a lot of industrial metals and minerals such as iron mining or limestone. And then our biggest one is what we call aggregate, which is just crushed stone, just like you'd see gravel. Aggregate is used in cement for buildings, it's used in highways, it's used in asphalt. So as long as the population continues to increase, so we need more infrastructure and more buildings, the mining industry will be good. Just as an example, when the COVID stuff happened, our business got better actually because a lot of places said, "Hey, we don't have anyone anywhere. We might as well fix these roads since no one's on them." So the price of rock and the production of rock actually went up.
Who would you recommend this program for? What type of person?
So the biggest thing is, if you like being outside, you'll love mining engineering. In a general mining job, you'll spend about 60% of your time outside in the field and 40% at your desk. Another thing is, if you like people, if you like talking to people, you'll have a lot of time managing other people. Whether you're just a foreman, which is an option, you just be a foreman, or you have where you'll have your 8 people in the mine and just kind of tell them what they're doing every day and kind of manage them. Or you might be an engineer, in which case you have to nag the people in the mine into doing what your plan says. But those are the two biggest things. Another thing is, if you like geology, you'll like mining. That's about the biggest part of what we do. And if you like explosions, because we do that on purpose and it's a lot of fun.
What minors pair well with this major?
So green engineering is a big one because so when you open up any sort of mine, from the first day, before the government will even let you break ground on this mine, you have to have a plan for how you're going to reclaim the land. You have to return the mine to exactly how it was before you started mining there, or you can get an option to what we do to find another use for it. So a lot of the time, quarries will be turned into reservoirs for water, but you have to make sure you have to have a minimal footprint. Acid rain is a big thing we look at that we have to minimize. So we actually only have to take 2 extra classes to get a green engineering minor because we already take so many environmentally based classes. And then the other big one is just a geology minor is another one that's really easy because we already take a few geology classes.
Do undergraduates have opportunities to do research?
Yes, we have a lot of research opportunities here at Virginia Tech. Actually, surprisingly enough, given that we're a small department, we have one of the top research expenditures here at the university. I believe at any given time, I believe 1 in 4 of our students is involved in some sort of research. I've been involved in it before. About everyone I know has done some sort of research while they're here. It's really funny. We have one of our professors is a leading member of the mineral processing community, and you take a class by him about mineral processing, and every day he will tell you about how this is the machine that the industry uses right now. I invented this. So he employs a ton of students here, just being on the cutting edge of that stuff.
What do co-ops and internships look like for this major?
All right, so co-ops and internships, we have, in addition to 100% job placement, we have 100%. If you look for a co-op or internship seriously, you will get 100%. We have our own career fair where we have about 25 companies show up for our undergrad student body of 100. So if each company takes 4 interns, that's everyone already. But you can get into a lot of things. I'll just talk about the 2 I've had. I was in an underground coking mine a couple years back, so we made coke for steelmaking. So that is my internship looked like so I was half engineering, half operations. So I would go down half the summer. I went down into the mine with the surveyors who mapped out the mine for 2 weeks. So I just used the equipment and helped them map. Another 2 weeks I was with the foreman, and basically we weren't allowed to have walkie-talkies at some parts of the mine down there. So the foreman would be like, "Hey, go run 500 feet and tell this guy to do this because I don't feel like it." So that was my job for a couple of weeks. And then I'd get up into engineering, which my job was a big part is ventilation. So you got to make sure air is getting to everywhere in the mine and enough air is. So I would work on the ventilation mapping and the power draws for the fans and making fan curves. And then another thing is we were trying to seal off an old part of the mine because we didn't work there anymore. So you just kind of seal it off so you don't have to waste air going back there. And they had me write up the proposal for that to the government. So that was pretty fun because that was like a real world thing I got to do. And then my other internship I had this past summer was in sales for equipment. I just sold parts for machinery. And since it was a lot less interesting just because of the situation, I basically did research on companies, called and sold equipment over the phone for the whole summer for them. I learned about the equipment and just kind of all up and down the East Coast, I was just making calls and researching companies for that.
Because of the 100% placement, does that mean that it's easy for freshmen to get an internship?
If you're looking early, yes. If you come here and know you want an internship, you definitely have a great chance. We have our career fair in 10 days. Actually, if you know you want to do mining or have an idea that you want to do mining around early October, definitely find the career fair and get there. And there's a lot of people there who will take freshmen. I didn't get I didn't get an internship as a freshman because I wasn't totally sold until the end of my freshman year, and it was a little too late then. I called a bunch of companies. They're like, we would have hired you, but we filled all our positions already. It was March when I'd started looking, but I have a bunch of friends that got them. You might have a lot less technical of an internship just because you don't quite know as much as someone who's been in the major, but they'll definitely find stuff for you to do, whether it be driving, like they might have you driving a haul truck or doing what we call time studies, which is basically you watch a truck go by with a stopwatch and you time it. But almost everyone who comes and hires us is a tech alum. They were you once and they really want to help, so they will most likely find a place for you.
Do you feel like the classes you've taken in the College of Engineering have prepared you for your career?
Yes, very much so. So we have like a class on a little bit of everything, and it's really cool how it all comes together because we have this first class called Intro that basically is you'll have a module that's going to be like the first week of each of your later classes, and it all forms together really well. And I feel like I'm very prepared for. We have a project management class, which also teaches us a lot of economics about it. So like I can learn how to do taxes. So that was fun. But also we have classes on just basically every class we have. When you get into industry, it could be an entire job description, and you just do that one class over and over again. So we pretty much cover everything, and I'm very confident in it.
Davey, do you have any last words for this major?
I guess I'd just say we are really small, but that's not a bad thing. It's just kind of niche. The major is growing, but we have an excellent student to faculty ratio. We have 7 students for every 1 faculty member. I know all my professors let me call them by their first name. We're all very close. In past years, once a semester, we would go have a cookout at one of my professors' houses and just hang out and get to know each other. It's a lot of fun. We have a very good community in the department. So if you want to get free friends with your major, just come on out. We are very close. We have about 7 student organizations, and we hang out together all the time. So, if you like being outside and you like people, come see us.
Is that machine in your background anywhere around here?
No, they don't have these in the United States.
Um,
Yeah, they don't. So these are big in Africa and Australia because that's where like the big mineral deposits are. But basically, the spiky wheel just digs into the ground and picks up the rock, and the arm has a conveyor belt in it. It just takes it to the center, and the thing just does 360s over and over again in the ground.
that's really cool. Thank
All right.
you for your time.
Thank you. Bye bye.